So just because it's you and your audience, I also want to put this in context and share a little bit of a personal story of having really painful irregular cycles as a young woman, and they wanted to put me on the pill. And I already had a political analysis of some sort, and I was really skeptical and a little bit paranoid. And I didn't really have specific information
Interesting.
as
Okay.
to why. I didn't understand ovulation, but it was something around the corporate control of my body. I knew that my hormones would affect my digestion and my mood and my
Yeah.
skin and all of these other things. And that's just part of my story as I started. Literally, women's body is women's wisdom with a highlighter and
Yeah.
circling things at 11.
Oh my God.
Um,
Had some past life training in this arena.
I definitely, yes, I have been a midwife and a mother many,
No
many
question.
lives. Um, but I just learned from Vandana Shiva on a Democracy Now! Interview just a few years ago that Bayer, who's creating the vast majority of pharmaceutical contraceptive methods on the market, uh, contracted with the Nazis and made all of the gas for the gas chambers
Yeah.
that exterminated a lot of my family. So I just love that moment of being 12 and then being like, you should take this pill every day. And me being like, I don't know about these people having my best interest in mind.
So it
And
took the
so,
rest of us a little longer to connect those dots.
yeah. So I went, I just used condoms through most of my teens. And at 19, I was doing an internship on a permaculture farm. And I found a book about fertility awareness called The Garden of Fertility by Katie Singer. And at that point, I had actually worked at Planned Parenthood as a peer educator and counselor for years. And like, they never talked about fertility awareness as an option. I really feel like the indoctrination I had there was fertility is a disease, it's a pathology that you must treat with pills and surgery. It's like the scariest thing ever. You don't want it to happen. Um, Anyway, so I learned about fertility awareness in this context of permaculture and understanding the ovaries and the menstrual cycle as a cycle of nature that we could apply the permaculture principles to. The first principle being observe before you interact. And so understanding that literally like our embodied observations and experience of our cycle, mainly our fluids, and secondarily our temperature and cervical position and texture. And then there's a whole bunch of tertiary fertility signals that we can tune into, that there's a lot of nuance, but that literally you can't conceive without fertile fluids. That's it. We're taught that you need a sperm and an egg, but you need a sperm, an egg, and fertile fluids to have a conception outside of a clinical setting. And it's so simple. It's so simple. And that if we're able to actually viscerally feel that and embody that cycle and understand and feel our fluids on a daily basis, understand the different textures and yes, smells and tastes as well, and then communicate that with a loving partner, that's literally all we need to avoid an unwanted pregnancy is embodiment and consent. And yes, there are nuances and there are many rules to the different ways that you can collect data. I'm a fan of the Justice method. Billings method is amazing because it's fluids only. Femtech, for the most part, including Daisy, operate on an algorithm that is not actually your fluids. Like nothing externally or like there's no technology currently to be able to feel what kind of wetness is in your pussy for you.